do want to talk about Mish because
we should talk about Michkov.
It was
an interesting game for
Michkov. There was a lot of good,
Spicy
and there were some things that went poorly. The good, 5 shot attempts for me, 3 on net.
Active offensively.
In his previous 3 games, 1 shot, 2 attempts, 1 shot, 3 attempts, no shots, 2 attempts. Asserted himself more. And we're seeing a lot of what he's doing on the power play, 4-on-4, when there's extra room on the ice. And this is kind of what we talked about preseason, summer. Listen, he's 19. He's probably not going to dominate right away. But when he does have that room, when it is, he gets to play point guard, he gets to have the puck on his stick, and you're in the offensive zone already, and he can just do the things he does, which is be a genius in the offensive zone, he's going to create chances, and that will eventually result in points. We're seeing the points coming pretty quickly. He's at a point a game now. He's caught my Calder pick, Logan Stankoven, and it's going to be a race now.
He tried the Michigan tonight.
He did.
He did go for it.
He lost it off his stick, and then they broke his stick.
That's what I do. Now, I think, like, if I'm an official, and, like, all the officials are old school hockey guys.
Yeah.
You go for the Michigan, and you get the stick knocked out of your hand. Too bad, man. You shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
This ain't even a hockey play. They just told me I'm not allowed to call it anything else yet.
Right.
Isn't that a slash, though?
I mean, it kind of
I think it kind of is.
Yeah. But they're never going to call that.
Maybe it's only a slash if your stick is on. Like, maybe. I don't know. I have to look at the rule book on that. But it's an interesting point.
But that's just a side note. One of the things I like most is he just became more assertive tonight. I think we saw it early,
right up here.
The first couple of games when he was just like, I'm happy to be here. I'm doing all stuff.
Yeah.
And then maybe he started to defer again. Maybe it just took him. All right. I said pregame. I don't know if they're figuring him out, but they're defending him tighter.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly we're starting to, okay. And now he has a solution for that.
Right.
He is a really fun offensive player to watch. He does, however, have some holes.
It does.
He absolutely does. And we saw this was just a straight recognition thing. And when Charlie saw it right away, and when I saw the replay, I was like, oh, yeah, Mish just didn't see he needed to become the defender on this play. It's the breakaway goal.
The breakaway goal, yeah.
So Sealer jumps on the ice, and he goes to the far side. He's the left defenseman. Makes sense.
Right.
Cam York is already deep in the zone.
Because he carried the puck in on a rush.
Yes. There's no weak side defenseman then. The puck comes out to the center. Where the hell is that point man? We have no idea. Cam York was deep in the zone. Mish followed the puck into the zone. He needed to be out closer to the neutral zone, basically playing that point. He wasn't. It was a failed recognition. They give up the breakaway. Obviously, a breakaway was scored on Fedotov.
Right.
That's just one of those little things that, listen, he's never had to play defense before because he's had the puck his entire career. It's a learning opportunity.
It's a learning opportunity, yes.
Do we know if this is what the argument between Sealer and Torts was about?
I think Sealer actually said something about it. I think I saw a tweet. I'll try to find it.
Did he get asked for in DC? Mm-hmm. It's very possible. But I think and there is also an element to this where like the Flyers are still playing very sloppy. Because that line change is sloppy. Because if you're thinking about it, like why do you make a change in that situation when one of your defensemen is in deep and the other one isn't? So, like, it's to me, that's a weird time to make that change because you're basically changing D pairs when one of the defensemen can't change because he's in deep. It just strikes me, and you saw it, obviously, on the empty net goal. There's just some sloppiness there. And look, like, we talked about a pregame. Like, I do not think they're going to fire John Tortorella. No. Even if some fans want him fired immediately, I don't think that's going to happen. But the continued sloppiness on things like line changes, on things like penalties that they're taking too many of, that is ultimately on the coach. And John Tortorella, look, in the end, he's the guy who has to answer for that. And again, not saying that they're going to fire him, but just like the players aren't doing a good enough job to start the season, John Tortorella isn't doing a good enough job either. No one is doing a good enough job so far. And while, yes,
that's why they're 1-6-1.
Michkov should have probably recognized that, like, I can't chase down the puck. I have to stay in my lane because there will be no one there if I don't. I don't know if he should be put in that position to make that mistake.
I was just like, when you said like the line changes have been sloppy, I was like, oh right, and the empty net goal, yeah. How many years ago was it that they actually practiced line changes?
Was
because they just kept getting called for too many men, they kept getting caught on like 3-on-1s.
2021,
do we have to do that again?
That was 2021. That was the pandemic shortened year, the one they play from January to May.
2021.
That was
not make a line change.
Elaine Vigneault being in I'm checked out after COVID mode. Yeah.
I am drinking martinis during the game.
Like I don't want to coach under these restrictions, so I'm just not going to coach.
Is he anywhere at this point?
I think he's just hanging out. His parents were real sick for a while, which I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that was part of it. That maybe his head was just elsewhere because his parents, who were quite old, because he's not young. No. Were both alive. At least they were alive when he was coaching this team, but they weren't doing well. I think after he stopped coaching, after he was relieved of his duties, he went back to stay with them and take care of them. I hope they are both still alive and doing better, but it is abundantly clear that Elaine Vigneault, they never got the same AV post-COVID, and that was the year where they had to practice line changes because the whole team was a mess.
Maybe we need to go back to that, but I just wanted to ask, obviously, Misha's made this power play more interesting. He gets the primary assist on TK's power play goal, scores a power play goal himself in the third period. Something or nothing that none of his points are at 5-on-5 yet.
I think it's nothing because he's creating at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
He is.
It's not like he has been invisible. I'm thinking back, the classic guy I think of a guy who was good on the power play and terrible at 5-on-5 in terms of flyerdom. Braden Shen. Braden Shen was a guy on the power play was like, man, this dude can play. And then he was invisible at 5. He got better at 5-on-5 when he joined St. Louis. But Michkov is doing stuff at 5-on-5. It's just that when he sets guys up, they're not scoring. And that's gonna change.
That's the shooting percentage coming in is lower than anyone on the team's shoe size. That's probably gonna be the case that he's not creating, or that they haven't put up many points at 5. They only have coming in 6 5-on-5 goals. He doesn't have a point on any of their 6.
There's been so much special teams time too in these games.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's been a whole ton of 5-on-5 time for him to get stuff going.
No, and with the lines and the blender the way they have.
We all silly like the mayor.